Unfortunately, some law enforcement agents who should be partners in the pursuit of the president's mandate are at the forefront of breaking the law as they aid and abet drug trafficking in the country. Today, we are forced to declare one of such law enforcement agents wanted in the presence of suspended DCP Abba Kyari, the SY Commander of Intelligence Response Team IRT at the 1st Intelligence Bureau of the Nigerian Police Force. With intelligence at our disposal, the agency believes strongly that DCP Kyari is a member of a drug cartel that operates the Brazil-Ethiopia-Nigeria illicit drug pipeline. And he needs to answer questions that crop up in an ongoing drug case in which he is the principal actor. His failure to cooperate forced the hand of the agency, and that is the reason for this press briefing. Now let me give you a synopsis of what transpired. The saga started on Friday, January 21, 2020, when DCP Kyari initiated a call to one of the NDLEA officers in Abuja at 2:12 p.m. When the officer returned the call 2 minutes later, Kyari informed him he was coming to see him to discuss an operational matter after the Jumat service. He appeared at the agreed venue of the meeting with the officer and went straight to the crux of the matter. And this was it. His team had intercepted and arrested some traffickers that came into the country from Ethiopia with, according to him, 25 kilograms of cocaine. He proposed a drug deal where he and his team are to take 15 kilograms of the cocaine and leave the 10 kilograms for the prosecution of the suspects arrested with the illicit drug in Enugu. In the meantime, the purloined cocaine, that is the depleted cocaine, will be replaced with a dummy worth 15 kilograms. He asked the NDLEA officer to persuade men of the FCT command to play along as well. Now, anybody who is in touch with the reality of the renewed drug war by the NDLEA since January 18, 2021 will know that that was a tall order because our officers and men have rededicated themselves to the war against illicit drugs, and what Kyari was asking for was not tenable, not in this new dispensation, not with the new NDLEA. We can recall that one of our officers was in the same situation in May 2021 when a drug kingpin, Ejiofor Felix Ngweregu, flew from Brazil to Nigeria to negotiate the release of a 27.95 kilogram shipment of cocaine intercepted at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. The drug lord offered a bribe of $24,500, but our officer placed duty above pecuniary interest. We all know how the episode ended. That is the efforts of the new NDLEA. And our officer proved it again, this time by reporting to the authorities. By 11:05 a.m. on Monday, January 24, after the agency gave the officer the green light to play along, he and Kyari began a WhatsApp call for the rest of the day. The officer conveyed their willingness, in quotes, to play the game. At this point, Kyari disclosed that the 15 kilograms already taken out was shared between the informants that provided the information for the seizure and himself, as well as his men of the IRT of the Nigerian police. According to him, the informants were given 10 kilograms, while his team took 8 kilograms, which was already sold. He then offered to pay the NDLEA team, that is the officer and the FCT commander, by selling on their behalf half of the remaining 10 kilograms, thereby further reducing the original cocaine from the prosecution to just 5 kilograms. At 7 million per kilogram, the proceeds from the 5 kg will amount to 35 million naira at the exchange rate of 570 naira per dollar, being the black market rate for the day, January 24, 2022. In effect, he will be delivering $61,400 to the NDLEA team. He then put pressure on our officer to wrap up the arrangement with the commander of the FCT command to take custody of the drug and suspects from his men who were on ground in Abuja. At the time, he was speaking from Lagos, where he allegedly traveled for private business. The next day, January 25, Kyari offered to send his younger brother to deliver the payments while his men delivered the suspects, but our officer turned down the suggestion, insisting he would rather deal with him in person and was therefore prepared to wait for him to return from Lagos. And by 5:23 p.m., Kyari was in Abuja and met with the officer at the same rendezvous where they had the first meeting. In their discussion, he disclosed how his team received information from a double-crosser who betrayed the traffickers to him, showing a solid connection between law enforcement agents and the drug underworld. He narrated how, acting on the tip-off, his team departed Abuja to Enugu and arrested the traffickers, removed part of the consignment on his instruction and replaced same with dummies. He also indicated how to identify the remnants of the original cocaine that will be delivered to NDLEA. 5 original packages marked with red dots. The reason for this was to avoid the dummies being subjected to test. He forwarded a picture of the marked original cocaine package. According to the plan, once the 5 kg cocaine has been tested in the presence of the suspects and confirmed positive, there will be no need to test the remaining ones, being dummies. He also brought with him the money for the sale of 5 kg share of the NDLEA team, a total sum of $61,400. Our officer, however, preferred to take the money inside his car, where the car was wired with sound and video recorders, and the moment was documented, part of which I'll play for you at the end of this briefing. So we have a trove of intelligence, hard facts, from chats to photos and video, and a detailed transcript of the communication between him and the NDLEA officer. This is not the place to delve into the details, but it is disheartening to hear straight from the horse's mouth the kind of sleaze engaged in by this team of rogue of law enforcement agents led by Kyari, the members of whom he described this way: the boys are very, very sharp, they are very loyal. It is disheartening to hear him say of this rogue team, and I quote, "I do take good care of them, and this kind of work is done by only that team." It is equally disheartening to hear him give details of another similar operation which they pulled off 3 weeks ago, according to him. Well, I'm not here to wash his dirty linen in the public, but I want us to understand how we arrive at this junction where we are having this press briefing. NDLEA has the mandate to take custody of suspects and consignments of drugs seized by other arms of law enforcement, and there is a standard protocol for such transfer. This will duly followed. The suspects and drugs were delivered to us on February 8th, but the last part of the process yet to be completed is the debriefing of Kyari himself. Gentlemen of the press, DCP Abba Kyari was invited by the NDLEA for debriefing on Thursday, February 10, through 2 main channels, because there is a whole lot of questions begging for answers. The invitation was legitimate and formal according to our protocol. But up to the close of office hours on Friday, February 11, he refused to respond. Up to this moment, he hasn't responded. We are a law-abiding agency of government. We follow due process. In that vein, we will not detain suspects beyond the stipulated period according to the law before we charge them to court. And Kyari must be debriefed before the suspects are arraigned in court. Having failed to honor the official invitation, NDLEA has no option but to declare DCP Abba Kyari of the Nigerian police wanted right from this very moment. I must say this publicly: we are not unaware of threats to the lives of NDLEA officers involved in this investigation, even as we continue to do our best to protect our officers and men in the line of duty. We're making this strong statement to those contemplating harmful action against NDLEA officers. they would only succeed in compounding their problems in the event of the murder or harm to officers